Good evening. This is Eswatini TV News Bulletin at 8, read to you by myself, Natilesi Tole, alongside Namakabiso Nkambule. First up, here's a look at our headlining stories. The Minister of Housing and Urban Development has urged newly elected mayors to work collaboratively with municipal council CEOs in finding investors to grow the economy. The Minister of Justice and Constitutional Affairs today addressed a virtual donor briefing of member states of the International Organization for Migration on the World Migration Report. The Ministry of Health has urged members of the public to continue donating blood as the country does not have enough at the blood bank. And now the news in detail. The Minister of Housing and Urban Development, Prince Masilela, has urged the newly elected mayors of the country's municipalities and towns to work collaboratively with municipal council CEOs in finding investors to grow the economy. The minister said this at an event where he was welcoming the mayors to their new positions, which was held at the fire offices in Babane.
The Minister of Housing and Urban Development, Prince Masilela, gathered newly elected mayors, CEOs and councillors for a meeting on Tuesday morning. The purpose of the meeting was to encourage a healthy office environment and also to motivate and inspire them to achieve better results.
Lidolopha njalo uthuthuka kwalo libonakala ngekuthi lihlandeke.
The minister urged mayors to work collaboratively with CEOs and find local and international investors to grow the economy. He says economic growth is important because a stagnant economy leads to higher rates of unemployment and social misery. The president of the Eswatini Local Government Association, Victor Rodriguez, says good results can be achieved by working as a team through strategic plans.
The
newly elected mayors took office beginning of May this year. Reporting, I'm Mlungelele Makakula, Dube in Babane.
The Minister of Justice, Palesha Kantu, says migration is a key feature of all international organizations for migration member and non-member states and is overwhelmingly positive for migrants and communities both in countries of origin and destination. And despite the COVID-19 pandemic, migration will remain an important facet of the global socio-economic landscape. The minister said this when addressing a virtual donor briefing of member states of the International Organization for Migration on the World Migration Report.
The Kingdom of Eswatini was the 130th member state of the International Organization for Migration when it joined the organization in November 2010. And since then, the partnership with IOM has blossomed into numerous areas of cooperation. The minister has expressed her appreciation to IOM for its continuous support and for inviting her to the meeting.
Migration is a key feature of all IOM member and non-member states and is overwhelmingly positive for migrants and communities both in countries of origin and countries of destination. And despite the COVID-19 pandemic, migration will remain an important facet of the global socio-economic landscape. We therefore need to reimagine the role of migrants and human mobility for the achievement of sustainable development goals. It is in this light and in light of this reality that I commend IOM and member states for this donor briefing on the World Migration Report, which is a flagship publication and IOM's significant contribution to improving the understanding of migration globally.
The minister has commended the organization and the African Union for the first ever Africa Migration Report in light of misconceptions, myths and fears around migration that persist. Reporting, I'm Lungile Makakula in Babane.
The Gaming Control Bill of 2019 will make it a crime for children to be found in a gambling establishment, and this attracts a fine of 25,000 emalangeni. This law will further prohibit employees of a gambling company from playing any game within his or her place of employment.
with the intention of ensuring fair play and giving an opportunity to the public to gamble. The Gaming Control Bill of 2019, once passed, will make it illegal for an employee of a gambling company to play a game at their place of employment. Breaking this law will attract a fine of 5,000 emalangeni or a 5-year jail sentence. The proposed law will also give relatives or those close to gamblers an opportunity to request that the bettors be prohibited from gambling. They can do this by writing to the gaming board and ask that a particular gambler be banned from gambling. The board will then invite the gambler to give oral reasons or write to it and explain why he or she should not be prohibited from gambling. In a bid to protect children, this proposed law will make it a crime for a child under the age of 18 to be found in a place of gambling. It will also criminalize children using gambling machines. Cheaters have another thing coming as far as this law is concerned. This bill defines cheating as changing gambling results, among other things. Violating this law attracts a fine of up to 25,000 emalangeni or a jail term of up to 5 years. For Eswatini TV News, Temgosi Mavimbela. Babane.
Limco King University of Creative Technology conveyed their heartfelt condolences on the passing on of Professor and President Emeritus Tan Sri Datuk Sri Paduka. The university described its late founder as a visionary whose career has been synonymous with creativity, and he assisted in developing innovative education globally, empowering especially the developing world. The university is humbled by the love and condolences and support extended by so many and asks for privacy as they mourn a man they are proud of. The statement has been issued by Limco King University. Director of Health Services, Health Services, Dr. Vusi Makakula, says there is still a high need for blood at the blood bank. Therefore, the ministry has taken a decision to resume collecting blood from their traditional sources, being school children.
Director Health Services Dr. Vusi Makakula says the situation at the blood bank is still dire because there is still a high demand of blood in hospitals. He says the bank can never have enough blood due to the number of patients that need it. He says the ministry has reverted to using pupils to collect blood.
Yes, what we did is we've gone back. We were disturbed by COVID because it affected the movement, it affected so many things, and it led to some shortages, particularly of the rarer types of bloods where you find there are fewer people who have that kind of blood, so even the donated blood will be less than that. But we're back now to collecting, and as I've said, we always need to collect blood. There's no issue of saying there's enough blood, and we keep it in the bank. That's why it is called the blood bank, because we keep it there for use. Then it gets dispatched to various centers which need it as per need. So we do need blood all the time. So we can never say there's enough blood. No, we do need blood. Let's get blood. And after the schools, which are our traditional resources, we also like to thank the churches because they have given us support. We are also now collecting blood from Monday to Sunday, because even on Sunday, during the church services, there is the support, and we do get some blood. So we are really grateful about that. We also do collect in Babane Government Hospital every day, and also in Manzini, the blood bank center in Manzini. That center has always been there. We were disrupted for a couple of months, but we are back there, and we urge people to continue supporting us with blood, because that is the right thing to do.
Dr. Makakula says blood donations are essential to the blood supply available for patients in need for the treatment of injuries after an accident or surgeries. Reporting, I'm Masilela Makakula with Mbawatube in Babane.
With June being Men's Health Month, Waka Invota has encouraged men to speak out about their social problems, so to avoid illnesses and putting the law into their own hands. The organization says it has programs such as Lihau, which are a safe environment for men to talk about their problems, some of which are a threat to their mental health.
June is Men's Health Month, a time where men are sensitized about health issues. This is to encourage men to visit health facilities for health checkups. Social issues have a bearing on a person's health, and this can go as far as affecting a person mentally and emotionally. Kwaka Invotes, a public relations officer, Sihle Slongonyane, says they have programs meant to assist men deal with various social issues that may affect their health.
One project that I would talk about is a project called Lihau, whereby we have a camp, a 2-day camp whereby we bring men and talk about issues of mental health, issues of making sure that we check, do physical checks on your bodies in terms of HIV and other diseases that are there. So we have those projects, and we also have a project called Babelo, whereby we bring men together, expectant and new fathers, to talk about various issues that involve their health and the health of their partners. So holistically, those are some of those projects that we have that focus on health in men. There are various ways whereby we assist men who have problems in terms of mental health or other problems, including then the issue of gender-based violence. So what we do is we do referrals whereby we point them to places whereby they can go and get help, and such as the psychiatric center in Manzini, whereby they have psychological services that they provide to them.
Slongonyane also spoke about abuse of people on social media platforms. He said they encouraged people to talk about their issues on social media, but also take a step further and report matters to the police so justice can be served. For Eswatini TV News, Temgosi Mavimbela with Muzim Konda, Mbabane.
As the country anticipates the COVID-19 third wave outbreak, WaterAid and the Ministry of Health have joined hands to strengthen the hand-washing initiative to curb the spread of the dreaded virus. Since the outbreak of COVID-19, hand-washing has been identified as one of the effective measures to curb its spread.
The workshop, which seeks to strengthen the Wash Hands initiative, was attended by World Health Organization and the Ministry of Health, Quality and Infection Prevention and Control workers who are coming from all over the country. There's a campaign by WaterAid which encourages washing of hands called Ntega, which the Ministry of Health has since adopted as means to curb COVID-19, as there is a looming third wave outbreak.
Now we have the looming third wave, so we want to make sure that we reduce any infection, even at community levels and in our health facilities. So this concept is going to help us to strengthen the hygiene of the people, and also to stop or also reduce the transmission of infections.
WaterAid Police and Advocacy Coordinator Bakezile Bembe elaborate on the Ntega campaign.
So what we are saying today is how best or how different can we deliver the prevention messages to the communities or to the healthcare facilities, apart from just passing a message, apart from promoting. For example, you will find that there are tools that compel a person to go and wash hands, where you can put footsteps along the pathway to the hand washing station, where you can place maybe whatever disgusting materials that will say, this is not a go for me as a person. So that person, by so doing, is compelled not to do or to do that kind of behavior, which is appropriate or inappropriate at that point in time.
Among other things, Masangane says the campaign is already being initiated in some communities, and it will be spread all over the country before COVID-19 third wave outbreak. For Eswatini TV News, Fortune Dlangamandla, with Bawethu Stole, Ezulwini.
The by-elections for Bukopo, constituency headmen as well as members of parliament, is expected to be held this coming Saturday, and it is for this reason that the Elections and Boundaries Commission is training election officers that are expected to preside over the elections. EBC Communications Officer Mbonisi Pembe says most of the election officers are the youth.
During the Saturday elections, electorate are expected to fill posts for constituency council, constituency headmen, as well as members of parliament in 5 constituencies. 94 candidates were last month elected to stand for the elections to fill the vacant post. The vacant posts are that of Lamkapi and Shiselweni 1 members of parliament, constituency headman for Matanjeni in the Shiselweni region, constituency council at Lomshia and Vonjeni constituency in the Hoho region, as well as Galomfa at Gametula constituency in the Shiselweni region. Elections and Boundaries Commission Communications Officer Mbonis Bembe says by the workshop EPC want to ensure smooth elections.
We are faced with a challenge where we have our youth unemployed. It has then made it upon them that it employs a massive number of around 70% of our officers are the youth from the various country or sites in the countries, and we want to ensure that they are the pillars of the system or of the process, in that we know very well that tomorrow they are the ones who will be voting. So if they are in the process, they will know it in and out and ensure that when their time to vote in their various constituencies come, they exercise this process duly. We are having around 400 employed staff for the 3 regions, and we are very much pleased to inform the nation that most of our officers are also women, as we also want to empower women in the process.
Campaigning is expected to start on the 6th of June, and it is expected to last until July 1st. Secondary elections are expected to be held on July 3rd. For Eswatini TV News, Fortune Dlangamandla with Themba Shabangu, Elangeni.
The rains received in Babane town and surrounding areas halted the search of Paul Masilela, who is suspected of having a hand in the death of his wife Zanele Mawelela. Chief Police Information Communications Officer Superintendent Pindile Vilagati says the police will continue to search for Masilela until he is found, as the police believe he will assist during investigations.
Police says they are dedicated to searching for Paul Masilela, who is suspected of strangulating with a rope his wife Zanele Mawelela. The police believes that Masilela is essential in their investigation regarding the death of Mawelela. Mawelela reportedly died on Sunday midday around St. Mike's, which is in the outskirts of Mbabane town. Since Sunday, Masilela disappeared. Police from Hoho region, together with his Majesty Correctional Services, have been searching for him in Evan Forest. On Tuesday morning before 8 a.m., police embarked on his search. However, the search was cut short by rainfall just after 10 a.m. Chief Police Information and Communications Officer Superintendent Pindile Vilagati elaborates on the search.
We are appealing to anyone who might know the person who we believe can assist us, who is Masilela, to call the police on 999 or any other police officer that we may know, so that we can complete the matter, because we really suspect that getting him will assist in the investigation. If anyone has information, they can call 999 or the Regional Crime Branch Officer, Mr. Fagutse, who is based in the Hoho region. We'll continue with the search until we find him, and our search is directed by information and other suspicions, and we also consider the trend of such incidents. So we'll never stop searching until we find him.
Vilagati says the search for Masilela will continue even on Wednesday. For Eswatini TV News, Fortune Dlangamandla with Themba Shabangu, Veni.
Conflict has erupted at Eswatini High Inclusive School between parents and the school committee following an admission blunder committed by the school, where they admitted 70 pupils instead of 35. The regional education officer in the Shiselweni region, Siboniso Kumbi, says the Ministry of Education is working on resolving the situation.
Eswatini High Inclusive School started operating officially when schools opened in March this year. Due to its capacity, the school is required to admit a total of 35 pupils while prioritizing those with special needs. It has come to the Ministry of Education's attention that the school did not obey the enrollment capacity, as they admitted 70 pupils instead of the 35. As this has resulted on some parents becoming furious at the school, the regional education officer in the Shiselweni region Region Siboniso Gumbi has called a meeting with the pupils' parents and the school committee to defuse the situation and agree together which pupils will be enrolled to other schools. Gumbi says they have reached a consensus that they will keep all the 6 pupils with special needs and the remaining 29 according to order of admission.
We're having a meeting with the parents to get only the 35 that is required, and the others who were not somehow part of the school, the office of the REO is taking it upon itself to go and look for places in other schools. We had arranged with Evelyn Perring, who had promised to take all the 35, but the children have their own preferences. So as the office, we are supposed to go around scouting places for them as a form of some compensation for the mishap that happened earlier on.
All the pupils who are being moved will be in their new schools by Wednesday respectively, as the Deputy Prime Minister will be touring at Qinisweni High School on Friday. For Eswatini TV News, I'm Sifiso Ngumalo with Smova Shongwe at Qinisweni High School.
Good evening once again. You are still watching Eswatini TV. Let's have a look at our sports news. Zinyane All-Stars Football Club, playing in the Mhlangatane Promotional League under the Hoho Regional League, has written a letter to the Football Association and the Ethics and Elections Committee to register their concerns on alleged acts of corruption and unethical conduct by the FA executive and those nominated for executive positions in the Football Association.
The football team, through its chairman, Myanga Spanza, says the Football Association has violated the Electoral Code Article 2.1, which state that general good governance principles such as the separation of powers, independence, transparency, and the obligation to avoid situation of conflict of interest shall be observed without exception throughout the entire electoral process. The club also alleges unethical behavior in that the nominees exchanged money for nominations by presidential hopefuls and other executive positions.
Sibili lesikhala ngako noma ke lesikubikako kuleli committee ukuthi kunaloko kuphazamisako ukuthi lama executives seka tikhanze wona afute athengise lamavoti athengisele labo lebafuna ngene office. In fact bathengiselana nale executive ye FA lamavoti ngoba nawubuka nje lama nominations banominate nebodwa lama executive FA kunominatwa wona nalama executive alama affiliates lama regions nalele bo PLE bo banibani banominatana bodwa.
Spanza says if the committee will call them for evidence, they are ready to provide the relevant evidence. The club says they submitted the said letter to the Football Association. The Football Association communication Mose Hadebe says they are still to receive the letter.
At the current moment, as I've already also checked with the office of the General Secretary of the Eswatini Football Association, I only find that currently there is nothing of that nature that has been delivered in the office.
Hadebe concluded by adding that every complaint should be directed to the Elections Committee. Hadebe concluded by adding that every complaint should be directed to the Elections Committee. Reporting for Eswatini TV Sports News, I am Patizo MCB with Linda Dlamini. Babane.
Gymnastics coach Maxwell Ngwenya says it is important for kids to start playing gymnastics first, as it is a sport that has all the basics needed to play different sporting codes. Ngwenya was speaking during one of their training sessions in Lobamba.
Gymnastics are one of those sporting codes that many coaches agree on that it gives all the basics of sports. Even former boxer Maxwell Ngwenya, who was found training kids in the gymnastics, agrees that it is a very important sport.
Specialize at an early stage. They need to be involved in so many sports. Like in gymnastics, we fundamentally sports. They learn how to walk, urana, uphosa, stretcher, and then to become easy so umntwana songamthatha aye kwesinye sport angayokarata ayakubox it become easy because we are mastering ama-fundamentals of sports. That's why kuyashiya la kangwane maybe in some countries developer athletics developer level because bayawenza lama-sports abantu abafundisa ama-fundamentals and stage. Sasa umntwana thina simfaka ku-sports a-specialize sports at an early stage. Uma simhlula sports at an early stage bese uyayekela. Kanti uma simthathe at an early stage ama-fundamentals simfundisile utokhona developer kahle abe athletically toba fit.
Kids who are part of the training says they want to be flexible. Kanti bantwana labadlala lo mdlalo bayasho ukuthi kudlala lo mdlalo bafuna ukuthi bathambise umuntu. Ngwenya concluded by saying if the sport can be taken seriously, more especially training kids, they will see an improvement in many different sports. Reporting for Eswatini TV Sports News, I am Patizo MCB with Linda Dlamini, Lobamba.
Well, Eswatini, that's all for now. Before we conclude, let's have a look at our top stories. The Minister of Housing and Urban Development has urged newly elected mayors to work collaboratively with municipal council CEOs in finding investors to grow the economy. The Minister of Justice and Constitutional Affairs today addressed a virtual donor briefing of member states of the International Organization for Migration on the World Migration Report. The Ministry of Health has urged members of the public to continue donating blood as the country does not have enough at the blood bank. And with that, we sum up our bulletin for the evening. Up next is the weather update from myself and the team here at Eswatini TV. Thank you for watching. Good night.
Everywhere you go, MTN.